Welcome back to the TruGolf Academy. You've joined me, Jon Watts, today at Branston Golf and Country Club. Today's video is all going to be about the top of the backswing and fixing your cross-lined position. Stay tuned to find out more. As mentioned, today's video is all going to be about fixing the top of the backswing. So if you struggle with a cross-lined position, so let me just grab a club and go into what that would be. When we start to see the club, for me as a right-handed golfer, pointing across the line to the right of the target. So if I just use a tour stick here, between my feet, parallel to my target line, if we got the club parallel to the ground at the top of the swing, so here in a full backswing position, we would want to see it parallel to the target line, okay? So we'd want to see it something along these lines at the top of the swing. If it was going to be a little bit short of parallel, which I would expect to see, especially with a mid-iron, we'd expect to see, if anything, the club pointing a little bit behind us, a little bit laid off. Where I see a lot of people get into difficulties when they get this cross-line position, we start to get the club pointing across the line to the right of the target. And when we get that, we get this lead wrist that looks very much like this, quite often referred to as a cupped lead wrist, or it is the lead wrist in extension. And we actually want a flatter lead wrist, or if anything, more inflection. So flat left wrist would be very, very neutral, give us a good club face position. When we start to see the wrist cupping this way into extension, we're getting that club face open. An open club, if it remains open on the downswing, is a disaster really, because it relies on timing, hands and arms to try and flip. I have seen a couple of golfers manage to do it with the club face very open, but what they do is they rotate their body extremely well to square the club face. If you've got the flexibility to be able to do that and you're not struggling with these weaker shots outright, then that's fine. Rely on this rotation through the ball to really start to square the club face. What I'm going to be talking about is simplifying your backswing so there's less manipulation needed of the golf club through impact. So what we're looking for at the top of the backswing, as I said, would be a flat lead wrist, a trail elbow that starts to point down, and that gives us, if I get a little bit shorter parallel here, the club pointing slightly behind me to the left of the target rather than cross-lined over here. What that means is on the downswing, I don't need a lot of manipulation to get that club face back to where I want it to be. They're leading, so the leading edge is about the same angle as my spine angle here and turning into impact. So I can just rely on body rotation, but not excessive movement. I'm not having to rely on any hands and arms. What I see when people do get cross-lined at the top this way is a lot of golfers will just throw the club out to win from there and really cut across the golf ball. What the better players tend to do, get a little cross-lined, is on the downswing their arms move out away from them. As their arms move out, the club drops to shallow, but that club face gets very, very open and again requires a lot of hand and arm action to close the club face. Otherwise we're going to be hitting out right to target. So a couple of drills. One nice simple one is just with a cane in the end of the golf club or holding up the side of the golf club. And what we're going to be doing at the top of the backswing is actually trying to get that cane pointing out in front of us rather than that cane pointing behind us. So we're trying to make a backswing where that cane would point in front of us, and then I'm getting that very flat lead wrist, my trail elbow staying down towards my body, not starting to chicken wing out this way. So this is a great exercise for lead wrist. And what I would do with this drill is actually, once you've done some exercises on it, I'd actually go ahead and actually hit some doing it by just stopping at the top, so doing more of a freezer movement. So get to the top, that wrist position I want to see. I know that cane's pointing out in front of me, not behind me. I'm going to stop and then hit. So we're going to go all the way to the top of the backswing and stop. And then hit the shot. So we're getting that wrist position we're really looking for and then turning into impact. Another drill that you can do is actually just going to be focusing more on the trail elbow. And what we're trying to do here is put that trail hand into the right position here where the elbow's pointing down and then reach our lead hand for it. Again, if I get this trail elbow working this way, not this way, I'll have a very different lead wrist position. So we put our right hand up here, reach our left hand for it. Again, I've got that very much a flat lead wrist, and I'll have this neutral club face position at the top of the backswing. So let me show you what that looks like. Trail arm up here, reach my lead arm for it, and I get this very flat neutral lead wrist. If we can get a better left wrist at the top of the backswing, stop that club getting cross-lined, we need a lot less manipulation here at impact. So I know it's going to help you next time you get on the golf course if you can just do those couple of simple drills and exercises to improve your top of the backswing position. If you did enjoy the content in the video, make sure you give us a thumbs up and do subscribe to the channel for all the other content every Tuesday and Thursday, as well as some Saturday specials. Cheers guys, we'll see you soon.